You come around the corner and you expect to see a Pro, but ladies and gentlemen, this is my new 2023 SR5 TRD Off-Road Double Cab. And it's got some goodies on it. It's got the 20-inch TRD wheels from the Limited in 1794. Got some blacked out badging going on. Of course, it's windy because we're filming. Beautiful truck. We will do a walk around of this truck, but I just wanted to show you. Today we're going to go for the first ride. Once again, nicely loaded up. It's got the bird's eye camera, blind spot monitoring, parking sensors, TRD decal on the side, Bilstein shocks, as you can see in there. Once again, those big 20-inch wheels, the regular I-Force, and ladies and gentlemen, it is the double cab. So it's got that tiny back seat. And the whole point of this venture with this truck is going to be, how is it living with it? I can tell you right now, just from looking at it, the seat's way back. I haven't even got in the truck yet, but that seat's way back, so no passenger here. And that seat's up a little bit over there, so maybe a passenger over there. But if you're gonna get a double cab, you're not gonna want it for big adult passengers. I'll tell you that right now. But this has soft text in it. But we'll save all that for the next video, which will be the walk. Let's take this thing for a ride, see what it feels like. First time starting it. Let's go. Okay, we're gonna start it up, and we don't have the digital gauge cluster anymore. So this is the other one offered in some of the lower trim Tundras. No problem whatsoever, still have that information screen in the middle. And an analog setup. So no digital, but that's okay with me. Red TRD start button because it's the TRD off-road. Still got that TRD on the shift knob. The only difference is there's no red striping like there was on the Pro, and it doesn't say TRD down here. And for those of you that hated the red interior, everything is black now. So we can't talk about that anymore. Big 14-inch screen still. But let's start this thing up. Push the button here. All right. Now I have to make sure every time I get in, I hit this auto stop start off button. Sounds good. I-Force, let's take it for a ride. I'm pretty excited here. Something very different. Overall, just from the driver's seat right now, it doesn't really feel any different whatsoever. I don't know if this has the digital. Yes, it does. I still have the digital rear view mirror, which is cool. There's no moonroof in this one. No big deal. All right, let's take this thing for a spin. Like I said, first time driving a double cab. Haven't been in a regular I-Force in about a year. So we'll see what it compares to driving an I-Force Max every day. I can already tell you the truck feels like it wants to get up and go. Again, this is a nice truck to come down to from the TRD Pro. If you're new to the channel, if this is your first time watching any video, I hate to focus on what's going on with my Tundra as far as getting in and out of them, because believe it or not, I'm not a huge fan of buying new vehicles. I try to buy a new Tundra every 2 to 3 years for the channel, just to stay relevant with some of the stuff that's out there. I bought a TRD Pro in October. I figured I would be in that for a while, but some financial situations came up and I had to get out of it. It was getting a little tight with the truck. So I wanted to come down into something like this, an SR5, but I was hoping I could get it with some options, and this one is very nicely loaded. And it was a must that it was a double cab. And I know a lot of you out there are like, why would you want a double cab? It's not functional anymore. It's more like an access cab now in the Tacomas. And you're very right. I can just tell you from being in it that you are very right. And I don't know how it will be, but my goal is to show you this truck to see if you potentially want to save a little money and get this, if you can live with a very limited use back seat. I don't use my back seat a lot. I'll throw a golf bag back there. I'll throw some random stuff back there. I could throw a buddy back there if it's a short trip. But you know, I don't use it enough to not try the double cab. If I had backseat passengers all the time, Crew Max, I will recommend that right away. But this will be cool to see if it's practical and if it's something that you could use and it'll save you a few $1,000s, you know, if that's the case. But as far as just sitting in the driver's seat like I am right now, it does feel very similar to the TRD Pro. Looking around, there's not red seats everywhere and a red dash. But the accents, yes, they're all black. But overall, the truck looks pretty much the same. Still have the heated steering wheel. It has heated seats. It doesn't have the ventilated seats anymore. The digital gauge cluster is gone. This is the other gauge cluster. No problem whatsoever with me on that one. I still have a little information screen in the center with all of those options that are on that digital gauge cluster. It comes with the digital rear view mirror, which is very cool. The big 14-inch screen, it does not have JBL, so I'll have to test that and see if you know, if it's a lot worse for the wear compared to that JBL. But just in driving around the block with you, the first time I started the truck was on camera with you right there. I didn't sit in it, I didn't do anything. I like to get in the truck and go with the camera on to tell you how I feel. A true first impressions. Now, let's see how this thing gets down the road. Get up to speed here versus, hear the turbos, versus the iForce Max. Gets up to speed just fine. It's definitely not as aggressive as the iForce Max. The iForce Max kind of throws you back in your seat and go, but this gets up to speed just fine. I'm not a race car driver. I'm not trying out for NASCAR. You know, I just want the truck to get down the road, and yeah, and this is going to do it, and it's still fast and fun to drive. I will say right off the bat, a lot of people ask about the Bilsteins that come with the TRD off-road package like we're dealing with right now. Just on the very short ride that I've done, and around my neighborhood is very bumpy, the 20-inch wheels, the wheel and tire package, and the Bilstein shocks are actually very comfortable. I'm not bouncing around or anything like that. So when we get down the road here a little bit, we're gonna see if that changes. Another thing that I just thought of right now that I lost is I don't have the premium headlight setup anymore with the auto leveling. This has the little dial in it to level your own headlights, which again is just fine with me. It's LED headlights, it's LED fog lights. This will be a nice change for me. I could already tell you I'm happy with my decision to get into this and save a bunch of money and still have something that's pretty sweet. I'm excited to try out the double cab for you. Very comfortable ride going down the road. I have wind coming almost directly at me right now, and the truck's not bouncing all over the road. Love or hate the new generation Tundra, but one thing you have to do when you get behind the wheel, you will notice right away, you have to pay homage to the fact that the new frame, the new suspension, everything is just so much different and compliant compared to the old one. The old one felt like your classic pickup truck, which a lot of people love the way that feels. But this one just is just such a comfortable ride. And I remember with the TRD off-road package and some of the older Tundras I drove, it seemed a bit bouncy going down the road with those Bilsteins, but this setup, not at all. This is extremely comfortable. If you told me there was a TRD Pro suspension under this, I would believe you, because this is just as comfortable as that. I don't really feel much of a difference. As far as the noise coming in, I don't think the noise is fed into this one. I think that's just on the JBL system in the higher trims. So, you know, we're not having any noise fed in, which is pretty cool, because when I turned onto this main road and I put my foot on the gas pedal, I heard a lot of turbo whistle, which is something pretty neat. I'll tell you one thing, here's another one for you coming from an iForce Max. A lot of these talks I'm gonna give you, especially this first drive and the next few drives, driving an iForce Max and coming back to this, what are some of the differences? Here's a major one right here. I was never a fan of the brakes with the iForce Max. Don't forget they do the regen with the brakes and all that. These brakes are more of your normal vehicle braking. I just never could get used to the way that truck would brake. Every time you'd hit the brake and it would kind of jolt forward, and when you came to a full stop it would do it again. And I understand that's on purpose. Okay, I wanted to flip the camera around here. One of the tests I always like to do is on this bridge going into Seaside Heights, sectional bridge, usually very bumpy, usually very loud. You can hear the bridge. I'm sure you could. I mean, I definitely could. I'm hoping the camera picks it up. But how is the suspension and the wheel and tire package going over this bridge? Well, I could definitely feel a lot more of the movement in the truck compared to the TRD Pro suspension I'm coming from. But is it uncomfortable? Not at all. Is it an issue? Not at all. One thing we don't talk about as much as we should with these new generation Tundras is the seats. The seats are amazing. I've driven a lot of these new gen Tundras. The bolstering is perfect. It hugs you nice. They're very comfortable for the long rides. And that, with this suspension going over this bridge, other than the noise of hearing the truck hit each section, It's not an issue whatsoever. And last but not least, on our first drive here, it's a nice little test I like to do. I like to take the truck through a few tight turns between 25 and 35 miles an hour. See if the truck brake dives into the turns, how it holds the power through the turn, is there any body sway? Just an overall feel of the truck. Am I sliding all around in the seat? So let's get into this first turn here. Now, the new generations have been very good with this, everyone that I brought through here, and this one feels exceptionally tight through the turn with the double cab. I've always said this, I'm talking last generation and new generation. The double cab it just always has a tighter steering feel to it. It doesn't feel as if there's any body sway at all ever with these. Okay, there's a short ride to start us off. So in closing, just a little recap on where I'm at right now. Very happy I made this decision. I thought, you know, at one point when I was driving the TRD Pro for the last time yesterday, I thought, wow, I really wanted this TRD Pro and it's a shame that it's got to go, but I don't feel that at all anymore. I don't feel any buyer's remorse. I'm excited to be in this. It's very different as far as, you know, with the regular iForce engine and this double cab, which is insane. But I don't feel just initially that the difference in amenities is going to be too harsh to where it really matters. I mean, it's a vehicle, it gets me from point A to point B, and now I'm paying a lot less, and I'm still in a gorgeous Tundra, and I'm a gigantic fan, always have been, of the SR5, and especially that TRD off-road package. And I look forward to letting you folks know over the next little bit how this double cab is as far as ownership. Is it pointless? Should I just have got the Crew Max? You're gonna hear every pro and con of owning this. Thank you folks for being here. I appreciate you all very much. Till next time, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TundraDude34, TundraDude34 @gmail.com. You guys have a great day. Be safe. Be well.